Welcome aboard. I'm looking forward to sharing a story or two with you as we travel around Whitby. Just ahead to the right of station is Loggerhead's Yard. Loggerhead is an old word for the figurehead of a ship. Some vessels found to be involved in smuggling were broken up and their figureheads or loggerheads put on display. As we turn right at the roundabout, you'll see to the left the award-winning Trencher's Seafood Restaurant, one of the many establishments in the town where you can enjoy the taste of fresh fish. New Quay Road, turning into decks from the 1920s. The old timber riverside quays were demolished. Ahead on the left, the Angel Hotel, now owned by Weatherspoons, as well as a coach in 1995. There was also entrepreneur George Hudson and the inventor George Stephenson met to discuss making the railways to Whitby. On the right is Whitby's Swing Bridge, which was opened in July 1909. Although the bridge has linked both sides of the town this side for centuries, there wasn't a swing bridge here until 1835. The 1835 bridge finally had to be replaced by the present one because it didn't give enough clearance for many of the larger steel ships being built upriver in the late 19th century. We are now on St Anne's Staith. Staith is the Norse word for harbour. St Anne's Lane, which runs between St Anne's Staith and the end of Farrington, was formerly called Hell's Lane, probably because of its steepness. On the other side of the river, over to the right, is Whitby's lifeboat station. And if nobody is in trouble out at sea, you'll be able to see the orange lifeboat moored just beneath it. Just ahead of us lies Marine Parade, which was built by the Victorians, so you may go promenade along the water's edge. In earlier times, they would have had to walk up Haggard's Gate, which is Norse for twisted road.
With it.
On the left, as we turn into the narrow Haggard's Gate, look out for the large Georgian mansion built in 1817 for the Reynolds family. Like many of the houses around here, it was built on a sandbank supported by pines and became Mission to Sea in 1877.
Bloody hell. You know, that would have tight corner.
Originally built about 1875 over the sandy banks of the river. Prior to this time, the crag was the only way from the town to the ship. The new buildings to the left are in fact new frontages, built after that time onto the banks of the riverside buildings, which originally faced onto the narrow. Up on the left, the award-winning Quayside Restaurant was once even a bathhouse, museum and a library. In the late 1890s, it said Bram Stoker carried out research for his Gothic novel Dracula in the first floor library. Ahead on the left, building with a large bay windows, is the popular Magpie Cafe. Built in 1750 as a merchant's house, it was later used as a pilot's office. The pilot had an excellent view of any activity in the harbour and all over the place. soon be reaching our next stop, where we take a short break. You can light on the beach, the pier and the lighthouse. Or alternatively, you can stay on the bus and enjoy the rest of the tour. If you're leaving after this stop, please remember to take all your belongings with you, including any children. Whitby has the only natural coast along the 100 miles of coastline between the Tees and the Hull, and has for centuries been known as a place for refuge for mariners. The beach between Tate Hill Pier and East Pier is also known as Collier's Home, as it was thought that if any storm-tossed ship had reached out, she'd be safe. But seen in Dracula, in which the Russian vessel Demeter runs aground on Collier's Home, with its captain dead and tied to the wheel, is based on a real-life incident. A Russian vessel, the Demeter, did run aground on Collier's Home. However, its captain was not dead. He was drunk. Just across the river, you can see the 199 steps leading up to St Mary's Church. The street running along the cliffs towards the sea is Henrietta Street, which used to stretch much further around the cliff until it suffered from a huge landslip one night in 1787. Many houses ended up on the beach below, and over 1,000 residents lost their homes. It is remarkable that no lives were lost that night. Fortunately, the land was seen to be breaking up, and everyone
It's alright, it's fine. Can you see how far right side? Brilliant.
Yeah.
Throw me back. Throw me back.
Hey, hey. Oh my word, look at the hill.
As we set off, we'll go up the exotically named Khyber Pass, a road forged
Khyber
into the
Pass?
cliffside in 1848 by the railway king George Hudson. Following the decline of the whaling industry in the early 1800s, Hudson planned to revitalise Whitby as a seaside resort. He began by buying up all the land on the West Cliff. He began to build hotels, including the Royal. The Khyber Pass was used to transport the building materials, which had arrived by sea all the way up to Westcliff. When the building work was finished, it provided a good route down to the town for the holidaymakers staying at the hotels above. Ahead, on the left, the little tunnel called Hudson's Folly was built in the form of a miniature railway tunnel at the request of George Hudson, simply to make his mark. There's no railway running along it, but if you walk to the other end, you'll be rewarded with a lovely view of the town.
Down there, look. Down there.
Coming up on the left is the only house on the Khyber Pass, called Strensham, which is what Whitby was called from AD 657 until the Vikings arrived in AD 867 and renamed the settlement Whitby from the Old Norse for White Settlement. Rosa Hotel, which has a blue plaque saying that Lewis Carroll, the author of Alice in Wonderland and Alice Through the Looking Glass, stayed there occasionally. It was while on the beach in Whitby that Lewis Carroll wrote the famous poem, The Walrus and the Carpenter.
This one.
We'll soon be approaching the Royal Hotel stop. You may jump ship here from the Royal Hotel, Whalebones, the Captain Cook statue, and Westcliff area, offering superb views of the Abbey ruins. Please remember to take all your belongings with you when you leave the bus. On the right, the whale arch is the George Washington. It was gifted to Whitby by the town of Anchorage, which is one between towns. On top of the whalebones is a harpoon pointed out to sea. In the 1800s, whaling was an important industry. There were over 20 whaling ships operating from the port. All the street lights were lit by the whale. A little further on stands the statue of Captain James Cook. He's not looking out to sea, but in the direction of the South Sea Islands, to which he famously travelled. Although he wasn't born, Captain Cook served his merchant navy apprenticeship here. Cook's connection with Whitby doesn't end there. His four famous ships, the Endeavour, the Resolution, the Discovery, and the Adventure, were all built in the then thriving shipyards at Whitby, owned by Thomas Fishburne. Cook's ships followed the design of the Whitby cats, which were built with flat bottoms to serve the alum trade. Their design made them highly suitable for exploration of unknown waters, where there were no harbours. Whitby is one of very few ports on the east coast that face due north, and that's why it's possible during the summer months to see the sun rise and set into the sea. On our left is the Royal Hotel, which is the grandest of those in the town, built by the railway king George Hudson. It was described in 1848 as fitted up in a very splendid manner, with every regard to elegance and comfort, at a cost of £3,000. In the 1890s, the Irish author Bram Stoker stayed here at the Royal Hotel and drew much inspiration for his novel Dracula from the town. In the book, Dracula leaps from the grounded schooner in the form of a huge dog, heading for the cliff below the churchyard. Welcome aboard to those of you who've just joined us. On our trip today, I'll be sharing with you some tales of Whitby's past and of some of the colourful characters associated with the town. Just ahead on the right is the Whitby Pavilion, built in 1870, where you can see the latest films as well as enjoy live theatre and music. It's also a venue for conferences and special occasions such as weddings. To the left is Whitby's Royal Crescent. It should have been a half-circle of Georgian-style dwellings to rival Bath. But unfortunately, George Hudson, the railway king, who was building them, was not a completely honest man. His business dealings were investigated, which forced him into hiding. The Crescent was never completed and still stands today with only half its property built. Number 6, in the left-hand side, is where Bram Stoker had his first holiday, Whitby, in 1890.
Okay, then look.
To the right, the cliff lift will take you with ease down the 120-foot cliff to the beach. At low tide, you can walk all the way along the beach from Whitby's West Pier to Sunset. It's a distance of just under 3 miles there and back. Our next stop is for the boating lake, mini golf, skate park, leisure centre, and the cliff lift to the beach. When leaving the bus, please remember to take all your belongings with you, including the Cliffside. Building in Whitby, and the first in the town to have electricity. Although it's since been converted into luxury flats, the original Victorian ballroom has been preserved. Looking down Lady Smith Avenue on the right is the Saxonville Hotel, home for about 6 years to the writer Margaret Storm Jameson. At the far end, you'll see the grandstand of Whitby Town Football Club, also known as the Seasiders.
The Seasiders.
I've never heard of that. No, you
Just
haven't
before we turn left at the roundabout, take a look straight ahead down Station Avenue. At the end, you'll see a low red brick building which was once Westcliff Station. The last train ran along the line from Middlesbrough to Scarborough in May 1958. The buildings are now used as private housing. Ahead on the right are 2 3-story houses. The long, bottle-shaped window in each house manages to give light to 3 floors, yet remaining 1 window. In 1796, the government of William Pitt brought out a tax on the number of windows you could have, showing that stealth taxes are no new thing. People who couldn't afford to pay the tax, or those who preferred not to, tended to brick their windows up. There were, however, ways of getting round the tax, as demonstrated by these 2 houses. The next stop is for Panet Park, where you can alight for the excellent children's playground, the Panet Art Gallery, Whitby Museum and the Leisure Centre. When leaving the bus, please remember to take all your belongings. As we go round the roundabout, we'll travel down Chub Hill Road, built in 1886, and on the left is Panet Park. Panet Park is named after Robert Elliot Panet, a solicitor who served the town as a councillor, alderman and justice of the peace, as well as supporting many charities. He bought Chub Hill Estate, which was then Market Gardens, and arranged in his will for it to become the public park it is today. He also left provision for a building to be erected there to house his collection of art. Coming up on the left, look out for Whitby's World Clock, originally installed in 1953 to mark the coronation of Queen Elizabeth II. After a while, it became a normal flower bed. But in 2006, the Friends of Panet Park raised enough money to have the clock reinstated.
This is the road that we come in.
On the corner to your right is Arundel House Hotel. This was owned by many generations of the shipbuilding company, the Cambrians. Sailmaking and rope making were essential industries in the shipbuilding trade in the 1800s. On the left-hand side of Arundel House, there's a little road leading to a tunnel, which is an area once known for its sailmaking. We're now heading up Prospect Hill. Please be aware of the low branches if you're sitting upstairs. The original owners of the large houses on the right would have enjoyed an excellent view of the prospect of Whitby.
Came down this road. Oh, no, we did. Oh, we're going up it. We'll be going back up it later.
In the last garden on the right before the junction stands a Chilean pine tree, or commonly known as a monkey puzzle. The word jet comes from the fossilised remains of the tree. Jet was the centre of a big industry in Whitby in the 19th century. Can be found along the coast near Whitby.
We came that way.
That's the way we go down it. Oh, you know.
Yeah. If you go that way, you're on the wrong place. And if you want to start down, if you go that way, you're on the wrong place.
I think last night if you know, get elbows. So the company's lights.
And you can straight off, takes you way down the road.
Yeah. I just stop now.
Stop on the wrong one.
Oh, wait. bridge. Hang on, look down. Look down, mate.
We will soon be approaching New Bridge, where there's a great view of the town on your left. We cannot stop on the bridge, but we'll go as slow as we can. Please have your cameras in the lane. We have to take in the view of rest towards the harbour and the North Sea. Towering over it all are the ruins of the Abbey. Below, on the left, the flats occupy the site of the Whitehall shipyards, which closed in 1902. As steamships were getting larger during the late 19th century, it was getting harder to transport the steel needed to build them in Whitby.
Oh, this one.
Andy will park down there. Not Andy, Steve, I mean.
We're turning left into an area called Gallows Close, an area once used as a place of public execution. The bodies of the condemned would not be taken down in a hurry, in the hope that the sight of their fate would deter other potential criminals. Coming up on the left, the white building is Whitehall, the old residence of the Turnbull shipbuilding family. The Turnbulls could look from their front window to the shipyard below. During the Second World War, the house became a school until it was shut in 1985. We're about to cross Spittal Bridge, built in the 1930s. The original bridge is on the left. It was named after a leper isolation hospital which stood nearby in 1109 to 1539. This point is thought to have been the first landing place of the Saxons who settled here. During World War II, the bridge's arches were used as air raid shelters.
Green Lane? Oh my Jesus.
Oh my word.
Whoa.
We're now
Oh,
commencing
yeah,
the
look at
steep
the
climb up Green Lane.
Fidel.
Please be aware of low branches if you're sitting upstairs. Green Lane
Special
was
little whackers, lad.
known as Hurst Road, was the route
Richard, get a bush.
to get to the church
Just a bush.
horse-drawn carriages. The Tour de Yorkshire cycle routes also passed along this route.
You know.
Whitby Regatta is one of the oldest sea regattas in the country. It's been entertaining crowds for over 170 years. Regatta Weekend runs annually in August and includes yacht racing, rowing races, street stalls and entertainment. Whitby Golf Weekend, started in 1994, has grown into one of the world's premier golf events and brings thousands of people to the town every October. Main music events and trade shows take place in the Whitby Spa Pavilion.
Captain Cook.
We are now approaching Whitby Abbey, first founded by King Oscar in AD 657 as a monastery for men and women. It was here in AD 664 that a meeting took place between the synod and opposing parties. At the meeting, many religious decisions were made, including the fixing of the date of Easter. In about AD 867, the abbey was ransacked and almost completely destroyed by Vikings. It wasn't until around 1070 that the Normans established a monastic community here. The remains that you can see mostly date from a later building, erected in about 1220. Like most monastic establishments in the country, Whitby Abbey was dissolved by Henry VIII in 1539.
I was backing up.
It then passed into the hands of the Chumley family, gradually fell into disrepair, battered by the weather over the centuries, even suffering direct hits from the German Navy in the First World War. Since 1984, the abbey has been in the care of English heritage.
Back off.
Abbey House, the large building to the left of the abbey, was built by the Chumley family using stones from the abbey. It is now the home of Whitby Youth Hostel. A tea room is run behind the nearby Abbey Visitor Centre, which houses an interactive exhibition. Audio guides are available.
So it's small. Down the damn thing. Yeah. Going down it now. Hello, folks.
Oh my God.
Hello, folks.
That's all that lot.
All aboard. 16 lot.
Wow. Crikey.
Please alight here for the Abbey Ruins and Visitor Centre, St Mary's Church and the Youth Hostel. Please remember to take all your belongings with you.
Yeah, I guess there's a bus behind you.
Whoa. Oh, Michael.
St Mary's Church, which can also be reached from the town below by a flight of 199 steps. Some areas are departed, carried up these steps to the graveyard instead of coming by road. There are at intervals wider steps with benches.
Yeah, I don't